Well, welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs and the Conscious Business Show, where we connect the heart, the mind to the wallet. We have a wonderful panelist with us today, Deborah Smith. She is an industry consultant, many years in financial services and current passion in impact investing, SRI, ESG, environmental social governance investing, and has really been a huge advocate in this space of raising awareness and education and working with wealth managers and certainly investors. Debbie has another wonderful attribute. She's actually a co-founder of the Conscious Capitalism Boston chapter and has been integral in having our organization start up. And so we're just so thrilled to have her with us today on the Conscious Business Show. So welcome, Debbie, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Darby, for that very nice introduction. But I am excited to be with you all around a topic that I am quite impassioned about and excited about as it relates to, its potential and if people are learning more about it and engaging more in it.
That's right. That's right. In fact, you actually hosted a table at one of our recent events on March 21st in Boston, and it was focusing on the conscious capitalism principles of purpose. And when you think about the pillars of conscious capitalism of purpose, stakeholder engagement, culture, employees, things that we sometimes take for granted when you look at running a business, but are very near and dear in terms of really making a difference with these business leaders. You've been working with companies, you work in the financial services area where a lot of this blends into in terms of, impact investing. Where are you seeing, gaps and or opportunities to be bringing some of these principles to the table for company executives to get engaged? I mean, there's tremendous opportunity, but there's also challenges, right? And so I'd love to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, as with everything, it seems that the more things have been around, there is opportunity for them to seem new, and vice versa. Things that seem new have actually been around and in place for quite some time.
Right.
And I think in terms of gaps, really the reverse way to look at it is that there have been gaps. It now has a name. So if in the model of conscious capitalism, where you're looking at the pillars of purpose, of all businesses having a purpose and a mission that's greater and transcends the base purpose, if you will, of generating a profit or generating revenues. That's been the history forever and ever. But how companies subscribe to that and engage in that as it relates to positively impacting society, positively impacting employees within a company, positively impacting stakeholders or investors in that company, it's now looked at differently. So where there may have been gaps perceived before, in that if a company was underperforming from an investment perspective, they were looking at different criteria from how the company was performing from conscious capitalist metrics, if you will.
Right.
If, how engaged the employees were and embracing the mission, how much they understood the mission, how much the leadership communicated the mission, engaged its employees. So the more that was interrelated, then the greater opportunity it offered for I think a dual win of good performance for the company as well as doing good. So what it may have been perceived as a gap at one time in that, well, the company is only performing marginally from an investment perspective, to look at it another way, it's actually performing really well from a cultural perspective.
Right.
And then the more that was embraced, you could see that there was greater correlation between, if it was embraced from a cultural perspective and from a mission and a solid purpose, and people were rallying around that, the stakeholders, the leadership, investors, that actually did a lot for the company moving forward from an investment perspective.
Right.
So
right.
I think what may have been perceived as gaps at one point are now being viewed as opportunities, and with the opportunities, there's perhaps more and more of an effort to close the gap in terms of engaging, again, around using the 4 pillars of conscious capitalism. There's more and more of an effort to close the gaps between leadership communicating the mission, the purpose, employees being fully engaged and invested in the purpose of the company, and with each other, and closing the gaps between any differential or margins between overall investment performance and social good that the
Right.
company may be performing.